Hello everybody, welcome to a trader's journey. My name is Leslie Pips. Welcome to another Sunday session pre-market. Took a bit of a sabbatical last week, but I'm back. I'm back to finish the year strong. So hopefully you guys are still with me on this journey. So without further ado, let's jump into the markets. So obviously we've had quite a bit of a strange week. We had a bit of an opening gap here and price continued to run. Usually when you see a big gap like this, price will come fill it first before you run, because the momentum was so strong. We actually broke through this level area of value. So this is my area of value, because for me, I see these areas as areas where a lot of decisions were made. Like, institutional traders can't hide their footprints on the market, so you can clearly see where they were active in the market. So these become very important price points. So this is quite an important price, because this is the original value that started this structure. So we've been stuck in this structure since April. We never had to, we were never able to break this high or break this low again. So we've sort of been stuck in this corrective structure into this value area. So we've had a retest in this area for once, and we failed to break it. So price kind of got stuck in this area. So now that we finally broke out of this structure, and as you can see on Friday, price was gearing up to have quite of a bullish run, but then the market sort of retraced quite strongly, because Trump announced that the tariffs might be coming back. China might be getting on 100% tariffs. So this was caused the reaction. If you look on the stock markets, the Nas dropped quite heavy as well. The stock markets are quite down, so because of the announcements. So anyway, we broke out of this area, this very area. We were coming back to retest this area, but because of we coming back with such momentum, price might actually break back into this price point. We'll see the sellers reclaim this price and potentially push it to fill this gap again. So because of this close with such momentum, we might see another jump in price when the market opens back into the zone. And for me, I'll be looking for this support to become a resistance zone, and then we can trade into this gap. That's what I'm looking at for now at price. Obviously this is all dependent on how we open. As you can see, this was our run last week. When we broke out of the structure, we were coming back to retest this zone. So because the momentum might even take price back into this area, do a retest, and then potentially fill this gap here. So that's what I'm looking at what could potentially could happen. So if this becomes a support, then price might just retest this area, and then we'll see a bullish behavior come in, and then we can continue on in this run to see where price might take us. So price might just do another retest, and then we can see where price might come, and then we can look at some structural highs that we can target. So for now, I'm looking at how we're gonna open this price. Can we break back into the zone, and then we can finally fill this gap. So it depended on how we open. So that's what I'm looking at on UJ. And then coming back into pound is showing similar behavior. Let me show you quickly. As you can see, this is my structure, my daily structure high, and then my daily structure low. This is my external structure on the daily. This is my internal structure. So all of this in here is my internal structure, right? None of this highs or lows have been broken yet. So we've sort of been trading in the zone, in between the 50% of the structure. So if I take my fib from low to high, you can see we've sort of been dabbling between the 618 and 05 in the middle of this structure. But last week we started getting some volume, breaking lows. We see we broke the structure low, we broke this low, and closed it in below. But because Trump announced the tariffs might be coming back, that's why we're seeing such a strong retracement. So I'm looking at this value area here as a potential zone for price to come interact with again, because like I said, these areas of volume, that's the areas where I look for trade ideas, because that's where a lot of decisions were made, and that's where a lot of entry trades were taken. So these are strong price points. So I'm looking at this price to come interact with the zone again, and then if we can see if price can turn bearish, and then we can potentially target these structure lows over here. This is the daily external structure, so it's quite an important area, and it's quite a high volume area because of this volume. This volume here started this pullback and came all the way up into the structural high. So I'm looking at, we are breaking structure, we came down, failed to break the structure, try to go up, we're not breaking any highs, and then we finally broke this low. So price is coming back to retest this important price area, and then I'm gonna be looking for decisions at this area. But obviously we have to trade carefully, especially this month, and especially that the NFP data is not come out yet for last month. So that's something to keep in mind of. And then the tariff wars are starting to kick off again, so let's just be careful when you're trading out there. And then on euro dollar, similar thing, very similar thing, but the price is not as clean. I'm not loving, because why? Price is not leaving gaps, right? You can see once we broke out of the structure, price, we open and then we fill the gap, and then we had another run. So price is not leaving gaps, but we have to trade it based on price. Where was the price when the volume came in? Obviously on the daily, on this one, the volume, original volume is here, but we have this resistance here that we failed to break a few times. We finally broke it, and then let's see if price can retest this area, and then we can make our decisions there, because this is obviously our daily structural high, low, because of this is the low that started this run to come retest this high. So now this is my daily high, my daily low, this is my daily internal structure. So if I put a trend line here, we finally broke out of this trend line last week. So now this is where the break began, and then let's see if we can retest that area and make our decision from there. But like I said, it's quite uncertain markets at the moment, with the tariffs kicking in, with the NFP data still to come, and so let's tread carefully. It all depends on how we open. If we open and then we fail to break this area, I'm going to be looking at potentially trading from here all the way into the structural low for the next coming week or so. So this is what I'm looking at, but obviously everything is up in arms. Let's see how we open, and let's trade safe. So thank you guys for joining me on this one. Ciao.